feel, 'cause I know that it's something real. Gonna say how I feel, 'cause I know that it's something real. Hey, hey. Gonna say how I feel, 'cause I know that it's something real.
Well, hi everybody. Good to have you here tonight. Glenda, it's good to have you back. I'm so sorry to hear about your friend, my dear. You guys, Glenda is here tonight. She lost a close friend to COVID just recently, and Glenda has been the moderator on her friend's crafting channel for some time, and so she's doing what she can to work her way through. So let's all send Glenda some good, positive energy there. And it's nice to have you here, Glenda. It really is. I'm happy you came for tonight. I think you will enjoy this. Nathan, looking chipper. You see in your picture, it sounds like your voice. The way you're writing looks like you're feeling better. Yes. Yay. Yes, it's Julie E is editing. She's lurking in the background because she's editing. As I told her, that's why I go live, because I don't like to edit unless it's photographs. So it's nice to have everybody here. Hi, Angie. Glad to see you here. So we've got Deirdre's here. Deirdre's popped on early on. How's it doing up there in Alberta? Yes. And Glenda's in California. Helen is just up north of me, up on Whidbey Island, and we're getting some wind coming in. Are you ready for the cold snap we're supposed to get next week? Whew, my goodness. Nathan, I'm in sunny Australia, yay. And Julie E, Arizona, right? Tucson, that's right. And Gloria in Gettysburg. Gloria, thank you for the reading. That was really fun. It was nice to have that. And yeah, it was good to see that the confirmation on it's going the path and where it's going, because Botswana got canceled. It's completely paid for, got my flights, the whole thing. It's why you book with a airline like Emirates when you're going someplace like this, because they honor your flights for at least 3 years. They called when I called them and they said, oh, no problem, not a problem at all. So, and even then after that, they knew that there were problems, especially when you're flying into South Africa and then going into Botswana. Well, we'll travel into Botswana, and we're flying through Dubai, and Dubai hasn't let anybody fly or land in Dubai if they were heading to or from South Africa. So that kind of made it a little different. Anyway, but so yes, that will be, it was supposed to be August 2020. Then we thought we were going to go last year, and then it turned out not so good to go last year, but now it's on the books for September. I leave, I can't remember, I haven't even looked at the date. I just know that September I'm in Botswana, and that is so exciting. It is to photograph the elephants and the big five, and I'm going with Art Wolf. He has an amazing trip, and I always have an amazing time when I go with him. He's my mentor. He's phenomenal. He's been there many times, and he published a book called Wild Elephants in conjunction with a naturalist that is in elephant studies, and they've lectured all over. And it was a gentleman who actually discovered the way to identify and has done the work on identifying the DNA of every elephant that is alive or has been for some time. So they've been able to track down any poaching. And it's been helpful. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm gonna go play with the elephants. Yeah. So that was good to have your reading give me some positive confirmation on that. So I can actually do all the vaccinations I have. I've gotten my stuff that I have to take for vaccine and stuff like that, and orally to go where I'm going. And I mean, malaria crap and all that stuff. But then it was canceled. So now I have to get all new. But oh well, that's okay. So Angie's here, like I said, and Julie's lurking in the background, editing. Deirdre's here. Oh man, Gloria, that's so nice. Guys, no burr. I know it's supposed. So you guys, you might. Of course, Deirdre doesn't think this is not going to think this is real cold. Some of you guys on the East Coast have had really pretty cold. We're supposed to drop down so that the lows will be in the 20s overnight, and it's not supposed to get over like 35, maybe 39. Okay, not that cold, really, you would think, compared to what but it's wet and it's windy and we're on the water, and so it's comes in and it's, oh man, it has a wind chill factor, and when it gets breezy like that, it can be nippy. So yes. Oh, did your son went to the Van Gogh exhibit yesterday in Seattle? I wanted to go. It's coming down to there's one in Seattle, and then I think there's one in Tacoma, and I think they're different ones. One's a digital. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but yep, maybe. Oh no, not gonna. Yep, you know. Glenda, hi Janice, yay. Glenda, Dubai may be a wonderful spot to shop, but I'm not into shopping. That's not what I mean, there might have been a time where I would have, but seriously, I would much rather be where I'm going to be, which is in a blind that is sunk into a watering hole. That I'll be in there for hours with my camera, with the elephants right outside. And I'll be, oh yeah, I'd much, in a tent in the middle. Yeah, that's me. Yes. I'd much rather be there. All right. I will have to do, if I can do, I may have to record several lives from there, because yeah, that'll be interesting to see what kind of upload it out. That's a whole other area of research for me. So Janice is here, and Gloria, yes, checking through here. So tonight, I have a story. Yeah, and you're the biggest Grinch. He says he's the biggest Grinch, but oh my goodness, that's funny. So tonight's story today is World Whale Day, International World Whale Day. And oh my goodness, did I get those pictures out for you to see? Ooh, I'll have to pull and see. So if you've ever experienced an up-close personal with a whale, even at some place where there might be in captivity, you kind of get a sense of their power. and their amazing amazingness. When Annalena was real little, probably she was about 3, because I know Bryn wasn't born yet. We took her to Vancouver, to an aquarium that was there, Vancouver, BC, and there was an orca in captivity at the time there. And the whale came, and there were also beluga whales too, but we were standing next to the glass, and she had her hands on the glass and was just looking at this. And this orca came up, and the eye came right up to the side, and he kind of nudged, or she nudged the glass where Annalena was touching. And her eyes were this big around. And then this orca turned sideways, and the eye, like this big, looks at Annalena, and then looks at me like, "Are you being a good mom?" And I'm like, "I'm good. We're good moms. I'm a good mom. I'm watching her. Got her closer." That was one experience. I had another time, even before that time. We were out in Puget Sound, and up further north of where Helen lives, probably out more toward San Juan Islands, maybe out by Susha, or some of them that there's unpopulated islands, and then we were heading around. And we knew that Dad had seen a spout, and we had my nephew Todd, who is, well, I don't know, he was maybe 9 or so, on the boat. Dad had I think at the time, a 32-foot trawler, not a trawler, but he had a 32-foot boat. And so we were all on the boat, and Dad cut the engine because we'd seen a spout, and we were kind of looking, and next thing you know, I hear my nephew go, "Whoa!" And an orca comes up sideways next to the boat. Came out of nowhere, literally came up sideways, and came up and then turned on its side and looked at us all, and then dove back down. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They are phenomenal. And tonight's story is about that. Now I had a picture here for you guys. If I can find it. Did I save it? Where did I put it? Recents. Did I send them here? I thought I sent them someplace so that you could see them. Maybe they're... Well, fiddle. Well, we've had orcas out in front of our house a few years ago, and I meant to pull them up. Give me just a half a second to see if I can pull it up where they were. And maybe they're on here. Fiddle. So you guys talk amongst yourself while I figure this out. I thought I had this up. Nope. Oh, choose a different. Okay, never mind. Oh, I'll have to show you on another night because that's not going to work. Force quit. I'll get my computer doing too many things, and it'll be mad at me. And I don't know where the catalog is. It's hard when you can't find the catalog for your... I took this disk drive off, and I hid it someplace. Anyway, so tonight I'm going to read this book about... It's for World Whale Day, and it's about orcas, and it's by this gentleman named Paul Owen Lewis. And Paul, where is Strong Nations? So this website called Strong Nations is supported by a local tribe here in the Northwest. And let me show you the iPad screen here. Oops, come on. There we go. So it talks about how that 10 years into a career as an author and illustrator of children's books, Paul Owen Lewis wandered into this Stonington gallery, overtaken by the power, beauty, and mystery of the Northwest native art and myth, and he immediately took a form line design and carving class. Then he met Bill Holm, and with his guidance and encouragement, created the now classic picture book for children, Storm Boy, which is a Caldecott Medal Honor book, and 1996 American Book Award and Washington State Governor's Award. And he also did Frog Girl and Storm Boy. Now, the thing to see in that is that then he met Bill Holm. And when we were looking at that book that had the Northwest Coast Indian art, Raven, and I brought out the book Art of the Pacific Northwest that I said was my textbook, that was written by Bill Holm. And he was the original curator and educator at the Burke Museum at the University of Washington. He worked very closely with all the Northwest tribes and in making sure that beautiful, authentic work was done. And Paul worked with him and studied under him and learned so much about Northwest Coast Indian art. And it translated into his work. He's moved to Lummi Island. Who was that other author? Another author that we watched lives on Lummi. Oh, now I'll have to figure that out. Was that Nina Lavin that moved to Lummi? It might be. That would be interesting. Anyway, so I saw that. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to go to. Here. So then I found out this about Paul, because he is the author and illustrator, and it was an interview with somebody, because he has another book out called Moto Mice. Yeah. And it's Moto Mice, yeah, because he got the inspiration because there's like 25 million active motorcycle riders in the US, and there are millions of grandparents out there who are riders, because the average age is 52. And so he did a book for kids, for them to help understand it. But in this, there was this really interesting part where he talked about what motivated him and what got him started as a fine artist, what attracted you to become a picture book artist. And he said, right after art school, when I was doing my student teaching, Chris Van Allsburg's books started appearing. Remember Jumanji, Polar Express? And I was struck with how solid, opaque, and strong his images appeared. And to him, they seemed very contrast to the kinds he'd seen before. And he said, maybe that's what picture book art is like now. Awesome stuff. Maybe that's what I'll do with my artistic skills at some point. Illustrate picture books. And then it said he's had a very interesting artistic career that includes carving chests and totem poles in the Northwest Coast native style. He noticed the art around Seattle and looked into the origins of it. And has anyone done a picture book with this amazing cultural art? So with the help and guidance of my artist friends and scholars, Bill Holm, Storm Boy was soon born. Its publication in 1995, and I became quite well known among these circles and was offered many more opportunities to further my carving and cultural experience. He's the one I told you about that went and lived with the Haida tribe for a month or more to learn some of their carving techniques. And just to be honored like that, to have their artists work with you is something pretty amazing in my mind. So this page, if you wanted to see, I didn't put it in the thing, it was celebratepicturebooks.com. What a good site. and it has different things about different authors. So I thought that was cool. Anyway, so the book tonight is called Davy's Dream. And before I start, I just saw what Nathan said. My mom would kill me if I got a bike license. My sister, I can remember, I borrowed my sister's, Carolyn's, leathers one time for a church skit in which we did YMCA, and I wore her leathers. Oh my God, it was just hilarious. But yeah, she and her husband finally got rid of their Harleys. And I used to ride on the back of friends when I was in high school and stuff. Bob is not a fan of motorcycles. I have good friends who've had serious injuries and who are still motorcycle riders, but not what I'm doing. Let's just check in and see what's going on here. Oh, Joanne's here. There. You can see. A beluga in the Baltimore Aquarium years back. Yeah, belugas are amazing. It's, and then we went down, took the girls to Newport, Oregon, which, if you know the movie Free Willy, that's where Willy was, and we saw that orca before it was freed. And so we have several pods here in the Northwest. The pod that comes down by me is more of a transient pod. It doesn't have a set spot. It'll follow different kind of things, but we did have, when it was here 2 summers ago, I think one time somebody got a high level one of it, and there was an albino baby in it, which is pretty unusual to have a all white, and it wasn't a beluga, it was an actual orca. It was just albino, but they come zipping by every once in a while, and everybody goes to the beach to try to find them, and sometimes there's a bunch, and sometimes I see them, and sometimes I don't, and then I hear about that they've been by, and I'm like, ugh. But the path, Gloria said, a path. There is some place that I do want to go, and on the, if you Google rubbing beach or look for YouTube for the rubbing beach, on the northwest side of Vancouver Island, I think it's up past Tofino, there is a very shallow beach area that has a lot of rocks that have barnacles on it, and the orcas come up on the beach and rub along it and race along it to get the stuff, barnacles off their stomachs, and so the rocks rub it, and they will come right up, like within a couple feet of people that are standing on the side, and they're just trying, and then they wiggle their way back off. It's very cool. Okay, I could go on and on about whales. As you can tell, I love them. I think they're very cool. My daughter went to get her bike license last week. Oh my God, I'm strangling her. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Oh, goodness. Let me see, hang on. I did not check any emails today, Angie. Oh, come on. What is going on? There it is. What? Oh my goodness. All right, you guys. Angie did a Sumi dragon. Whoa, look at that. How cool is that? that another one? Did you do two? That's, oh, that's the cat from the last time. Oh my gosh, look at that. Wonderful. Okay, dragons and whales. That's the way it is. You bet. Okay, here we go. Davy's dream. Just something about their curves, their lines, the way they go, but you're going to love this book. Okay, let's see. Yes. Too dangerous. Yay. Yay, Angie, I know, isn't it gorgeous? All right. Davy, oops. I knew there was something I needed. Red wine. Davy's dream. A young boy's adventures with wild orca whales. As a preface before that, just so you know, orcas are called, I'm kind of big on calling them orcas. Sometimes they're called killer whales because they have a tendency to go after seals and other things like that. They do have some pretty interesting hunting habits, and they do eat seals and salmon and all that kind of stuff. But they're also pretty amazing. I prefer to call them orcas. And there's some discussion about that there's a different subspecies within them that are the killer whales and that no. For the Shepherd family, Bob, Gretchen, Annalena, and Bryn. May your dreams come true too. Paul Owen Lewis. Ah, perfect, huh, Gloria? Davy's dream. Written and illustrated by Paul Owen Lewis. One sunny afternoon, a boy named Davy lay in the tall grass on a hilltop dreaming. It was a dream of killer whales. He saw himself sailing among them. In play, in song, in silence. And in joy. Let's see if I'll get those pictures. Just yay. You guys don't need the framing around it. Get this a little bigger for you. When he awoke, he ran down the hill into the harbor town, eager to share his dream of the happy whales with the people there. Helen, I wonder if that's Friday Harbor. It looks almost like the way the ferries are coming in. Ha! Wild orca! They're dangerous, laughed an old fisherman. Not like those tame ones doing tricks. Yup, wolves of the sea, and we call 'em around here, agreed another. Hunt in packs and eat anything, said yet another, squinting his eyes as he spoke. Davy suddenly felt very foolish. He told no one else about his dream that day. But the wonder he felt for the whales and the memory of the dream would not leave him. He sailed out of the harbor and into the straits to look for them. Not long afterwards, far away on the water's surface, he saw what looked like little black triangles. Killer whale fins. Quickly he trimmed the sails and raced towards them. Davy's hopes rose together with the spray off the bow of his boat. But he could soon tell the whales were swimming away from him faster than he could follow. Once more he trimmed the sail. Davy's hopes rose as he raced toward them, but at the last moment, the whales dived and vanished. He tried again and again, but always it seemed the whales would have nothing to do with the boy in the boat. I guess the dream was just a dream after all, Davy said to himself, and he sailed for home. The next day, Davy was bored and restless when, with nothing better to do, he climbed back up his sunny hilltop to think, and he sat. And the heat of the sun made him drowsy, and he lay down on the grass, closed his eyes, and fell asleep, and began to dream again. When he awoke, he ran down into the town, and telling no one, playing, singing, resting, and jumping for joy together, Davy and his new friends had done it all. But now the setting sun reminded him that it would soon be dark. It was time to go home. Davy waved goodbye, and the whales each spouted in reply. The evening air darkened quickly as the little sailboat glided home alone. Then, without warning, there was a loud crunch, and the boat lurched to a stop. Davy knew at once that he must have hit a rock as water began to fill the boat. The boat was sinking. No sooner had he started bailing when two towering black fins rose out of the water on either side of the boat. The boat began to rise and move forward very fast. In no time at all, Davy was safely back in the harbor. The next morning, Davy told everything to the fisherman. "Boy," said the first, "you've been watching too much TV." "Imagine that," said the second, "being rescued by wild killer whales. That lad can sure tell a good fish story." "Got a screw loose, more likely," said the third, squinting his eyes as he spoke. Davy left the men again, but this time a great big smile grew on his face, because he knew, and you and I know too, that dreams can come true. And that's Davy's dream. Isn't that a cool book? Ah, hello, Mo. Art Flow by Mo is here. Yeah. The water is cold too. So the Pacific and the Sound, just little trivia fact, the average temperature is about 55 degrees. And I think it's 55, 56, and it cannot vary more than 7 degrees really either way. I think it's 7 degrees without killing sea life in it. So it stays cold. But, you know, if the sun was out and you're at the beach, even if it's cold like that and the sun's out, and even if it's March, you're sure to find somebody swimming in the Sound. Hi, Mo. It's glad to have you here. Mona, it's nice. Yay. A book that needs no words. Exactly. Isn't it amazing? I mean, this whole part, the illustrations. I mean, I would have loved to see his originals. I know, be interesting to figure out where his originals are on this, if they've been put out someplace. Look at that, where they are running along, and he painted the bottom of the boat. We oftentimes have, when the pod is down here in the South Sound, we'll know because the whale watching boat will come out and around, and you'll see it. People will, because they will have heard, and we have whale tracking apps, and we have people that track the apps and kind of know where the pods are all the time. And if they're heading down here, the whale watching boat will head out and follow them. When the Orca came up to my dad's boat, Dad had that boat was a 32-footer. The whale was longer than my dad's boat. And literally, I'm probably, if the fin had come up, even though it was a big, I think it had, it was a cruiser type thing. And so, but you are not allowed to approach a whale, and you're supposed to stay back fairly far. I have friends who kayak in the Sound a lot, and it's not uncommon to be out kayaking and have the orcas come not too far away from you. It's always pretty amazing. But look at that. I love this. This is one of my favorite illustrations with the water. The motion to see the water and them breaching like that and playing and almost waving to him goodbye in this one. So Davy's dream, a young boy's adventure with wild orca whales. Whoa. So the curved lines and everything with the whales, I'll go back to this. Here we go. With the curved lines and everything, this will go really well with the art idea that I had for us to do. So if you have the sheet of paper or where I asked you to draw some circles, I think, on it last night, I think I had you just start with only the circles. So the form of art that I found the other day and was kind of fascinated by was developed in 2014 by a Russian psychologist named, oh dear, can I get the name? Pavel Piskarev, and it's called neurographic art. Neurographica is what he trademarked. It's got, I put a couple of a YouTube that I watched on it in the description, and Neurographica is, let me put it in the NEU ROGRAPHICA, Neurographica. Let's go there. get to his website. And here we go. So this guy, oops, chat with neurographic. No, thank you. Don't want to. This guy developed this art form as almost a form of therapy and a way of people could use it to solve problems, to work through issues and different type of things. Because when you form the art, it creates images that are similar to what look like how neurons look and neural pathways and even galaxy type things. He had some books. The first website I found was all in Russian. Okay, couldn't do that one. And there was several really very interesting things about him. And let's see if over here, did I have it? Here we go. And there's a neurographic academy, all kinds of different things. So and people have lesson plans out there on them. I decided to go simple because it's something new to me and new to you and what the whole thing is all about. So the basic thing starts with, and I'll show you this, the first step is, there we go. Okay, so the first step is to draw shapes or circles or some kind of geometric design. We started with circles, I think. Then what you do is you draw lines through them from one side of the paper to the other, and in a way that just kind of, oops, that's a darker pen than the other one was, and can connect them in any which way you want. And it's a few lines. It doesn't have to be a lot. So the first step is to draw your shapes, your circles, geometric, you could trace them or draw them, any kind of organic type shape. Then you add a few lines. So I had my first one, shapes here. I did these. Ooh, that squeaks. So if you guys have your paper and you had your circles first, I think I said to do some circles, like 3 circles. Did I do them? I got carried away and I started doing this. I did 3 circles. So like you could do, I think I said to do 3 circles. So I'll do 3, 2 also. And then you draw a few lines, not a lot to start with, because otherwise it's going to drive you crazy, I think. And from one side to the other. Okay. I like it. Yes, but you know, not all of us have an ocean that's like super, super warm. I tell you, the first time I went with my friend Jody, she lived outside of Atlantic City, New Jersey, and she took me to the beach someplace down. It was not Atlantic City, but it was someplace down the way around. And first off, I'd never seen so many people on a beach in my life. Second off, she told me to make sure that we held our sandwiches close because the stupid seagulls would swoop down and steal my sandwich right out of my hand, which it did. Third, she said, let's go swimming in the water. And I said, okay. Water was not crystal blue. Okay, that was hard for me to get past. And I stepped in and it was like stepping into a bathtub. I was not used to that. I'm used to like blue water, cold. And that's what ocean's supposed to be. Sorry, Nathan. Yeah. So below greener and on top, water reflecting the blue sky. Yeah. Circles with lines connecting. So yes, we got the circles with lines kind of going through from one side of the paper to the other. You know his work. Mo, great. You can correct me because I just found this the other day and normally I did this like I would do this with the kindergarten class. I jumped in without all the details and just went for the big general stuff. And some others. So it does. It's meant to really fire up your brain for creativity and to also release things. So one of the things about doing this is that before you even start, you're supposed to do like a quest or identify a quest or a problem or something, a theme that you want to think about. And then you concentrate on that, on what it's going to be. And then the real official thing is to do a doodle to the count of 3 only. That's your stress draw. Starting with shapes is a kind of a little simpler way to do it. You do the stress draw from up to the count of 3, and then you do the lines through that. Now here's the part that's important. After you've done your circles or your shapes and you've done the lines through, you have to do what they call curve it out or round it out. So you find every place where the lines intersect something, and anything that's a sharp corner, you need to curve it out and fill it in. And so this, some artists have said, is kind of the boring part. Others say it's the real contemplative part, where you can move it through. So any place you would see, like this would need to be rounded and filled in. This would be rounded. All of these. And it does start to tend to look like neurons or galaxies or type of things, those illustrations you have of neurons in the brain. So if you're doing this, so find your corners, fill them in. If you goof up and you kind of go over the edge or something, they said just take the line to the edge of the paper or do something. Some people take the lines out to the edge, some didn't. Some filled that in later or added in as they were working to see where the composition was out of balance and which kind of random things you wanted to add in afterwards. So while you guys are doing that, hang on, I've got a special thing for us. There we go. And I've got little whales going in the background. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do this. I got to turn the sound up on that. So fill in some of your corners, round them out. Find them where they are. You can do it with any kind of medium that you want, whether it's a pencil or a marker, fine tip marker, or a thicker marker. I have this whole set from Arteza of shades of gray markers that I'm really excited to use with it. That's what one of these is. This is one of the gray markers. This is called carbon black. So these markers are from Arteza. You guys can see them. They have all different kinds, 36 gray tones. Ah, yeah, I love them. And they have a thick end and a thin end, which is really nice. One of the artists I watched that did this started with different watercolor shapes that she'd done on the page before she added. She had done like several watercolor circles in different colors, and then she drew over them with her other. She traced like circles on them or did geometric shapes with them, and then added the lines. The idea with this is that you can work through a lot of things through this, so it's almost like a meditative type state of doing this. And one thing, there was a part up where you did the scribbling part, where the design was the scream it out type thing. And I thought that was kind of amusing, which is not. You can add the lines to be thicker if you want. Should have done a smaller one so I could keep going. I'm stuck here. I can't stop. Stop, Gretchen. I think, did I miss a piece? Up. There's one. So then, when you have your corners rounded, you can take it and take the lines if you want and add other pieces or take them to the edge, however, make them thicker, leave them as they are until you do some additional things. I've got a corner here that's too tight. Color that one in. So I've got that. I've got my corners done, almost. Missed one or two. And then you can color it in with whatever medium that you choose to do, whether you want to do it in monotones or you want to do it in contrasting colors or complementary colors. And then you go and you can fill in the circles or the shapes that you feel. These are these Arteza real brush pens, which is kind of a fun thing to do. And so, and you keep going. My husband just stuck his head in and goes, "Are you done?" He's hungry. Funny. Okay. So you would go through the colors that you would want to do, and however, and then one of the gals that I watched, after she had done this and got them all colored in, she then went back with and figured out where her light source was and made a shadow line on the light source side on each of the shapes to make it thicker. I think that might be kind of fun to do with my gray, but I did one, oh, I have several. This is the one I did a little earlier, kind of smudged. But what I thought was fun was a small piece, but then I grabbed out one of my mats and how I could do that. I could put it on a mat this way. Anyway, you round it out, you color it out, you color it, and then you sit back and you think about what it is and what progress have you made on that issue that you had. I just thought that the whole idea of it, of doing this with it, creating art that initially is so much like your neural pathways and your neurons, and having something else to go on, and then you could add another piece and you could add more. There was somebody that I saw that was taking like insides of scissors and different shapes, and then connecting them. And doing it. They had just some really fascinating, let's see, let's see, neurographic art. Yeah, okay, here, I'll show you this one. This one, there. So it's a cathartic meeting with your unconscious that unfolds through drawing. The method was invented in Russia in 2015, actually 2014, and has grown rapidly around the world. Creating your drawing is a beautiful meditative process based in mindfulness, which I just love. It bypasses the rational thinking mind and able to reach deep into hidden layers of one's psyche. Anyway, this is neurographic.art, this website. There's several places out there that have classes. There's several YouTube, different ones. Like any YouTube thing, you look at it and you see, yeah, I started to watch another one and went, oh, no, that one just didn't feel right to me. And I really wanted to, after you're doing one of these, you kind of tune into it. Oh, it doesn't feel right. It looks good, or it feels good. So the one I put in the description box was a real simple one that felt pretty good and had the way of doing the to do the shadow work that you could do with it, and I thought that that was pretty cool to see. So that's what I watched. Have you? Okay, Helen's watched some of it. Let's go back to up here. And let's do our animated whales. And tell you what, I'll close this and I'll put me up here, but I'll make it smaller, me much smaller, and let the whales go in the background. And because they're kind of quiet. So we'll look at, see what you guys have said. It really fires up the brain to think deeper. I used to do this with my students when I taught school. Every morning I would present them with a simple symbol, and they had 3 minutes to make something out of it. It really gets their brain in gear. That's kind of like what I would do when I would do the 28 to make on Creative Live, that thing I told you about, that you would have that circles, 30 circles. And we would spend, literally, they had 30 circles, and we would spend 10 minutes to see what they could make in each circle, you know. Is it no, separate lines. Separate lines, Angie. It's not a real rule. You just have to bisect some of your shapes. Doesn't matter how many of the shapes, and it goes from one side of the paper to the other, whether that's the top to the side or top to the bottom or bottom to the other side. There's not a specific rule about that. Good question. Yeah, it would get the kids ready to learn and start the day. I did something called the Haptic March with my kids, with my little kids every day, which is you have one, like if you have your right hand up, then your left knee goes up at the same time, and you switch. And what it does is it creates cross connections through the brain. And we would do haptic marches for a minute in place, or we would always, if we were standing in line to come in from recess, we would haptic march in. And at first they could never figure it out, but then they got it down. And then we would haptic march before every spelling test, before any kind of academic switch and things, so that they could switch that. It's part of the it's part of the brain research and reading that I've done over the years. I called it bell work. Oh, nice, Mona, that's awesome. We would have been good teaching partners together. And the East Coast is brown water warm. Ugh. Yeah, can't deal. Oh. Yeah, lots of teachers. Synapses, thank you. Yeah, those words are gone. A lot of time, I think I just get thinking so fast and about things, and I just, like a measuring tape, I'll forget what I just give up and call it a measuring thingy. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. Yes. I watched something similar to this the other night, and it was how to make a 3D drawing. Oh, cool. 3D is not something I'm the best at drawing. In France on a freeway, yeah. Where cabins are. Out the forest, sky view. See where this can take your mind. Convex or concave? Oh, wow. If you do convex though, then don't you end up with then you end up with like another sharp corner that you have to round off. Oh my gosh. So you guys, I don't know how, this might take you a minute to finish, or you might be just like, I'm just gonna leave it blank. Or some people like watercolor the whole back and then do something else, or paint the whole thing and then do on top of stuff. I can just see so many different ways to do this. I would love it if over the next couple days you finish this and you email it to me. Let me put it out so you guys. Okay, there we go. imagesbygretchen@icloud.com is where you guys can send them. That's my email. Good. Or you can message them through other things, but that's a way to get me on email. And then I'll put them together. You know, Deidre, I'm glad it makes you relax. Nathan, I think Mona would agree with me. Yeah, I definitely had this sense. There was no kids there was never a non-intelligent kid in my classroom. And there's people who have different styles of intelligence and different kinds of intelligence, and things that, I mean, I think I told you about Joe. I had Joe in kindergarten, first and second, I think. Joe struggled with a lot of reading and a lot of things, and a lot of things were going on. But when I would sit down to play the piano in my classroom just for transition time, I played the Wagon Trail Boogie when it was time to clean up. That was the cleanup song. I played Pachelbel's Canon when it was time to put things away and get ready for reading. I just had different, I played Midnight Cowboy when it was time to get ready for recess. Things that I remembered that I could play, different songs that I had. I had all these different things that I played. Joe would walk up to me and he would walk to the side of my piano and he was a human metronome for me. He would say, too fast, too slow, pick it up. And literally, I mean, this is a kid from the time he first listened to me play the piano in the classroom, which I wouldn't play for adults. I'd play for the kids. He would get me on the right. He had this innate sense of the beat and the rhythm and whether I was going too fast or too slow or anything. And it was so cute to see the way he pushed me along on that. And so your type of intelligence is shining through now. And, all we do is go forward and share it with someone else and recognize someone else's amazing skill and talent and intelligence and celebrate that in them. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that it makes you relax and in helping you, because it's not always an easy, like I said, reading was very easy. Told you guys that reading was really super easy for me, but math, most math was okay. Geometry was okay. Oh, was it geometry and algebra? Oh my God. I nearly lost my mind. Seriously. Yeah. In the SAT tests, or the tests they take it, to get into college, you take them, and they say specifically on the test, do not fold your answer sheet or your booklet or anything like that. And they would come to those questions about which one of these designs, which one of these fold marks would you use to get to this design or type thing. And I would literally take my answer sheet when I wasn't supposed to, and I would be like, no, could not ever do it. Oh well, that's just the way. A drummer. Yeah, so, okay, musical language, the beat, that music is such a mathematical science and beat. Amazing. It's like my mom with weaving. Weaving to her was all about the math. Oh my gosh. Math is not my thing. It makes no freaking sense. Oh my gosh, you guys, this has been a delight. I hope you liked this story of Davy's dream and the wonderful orcas that are floating around in my backyard back here. I'm sorry I didn't bring the photos out that I have of them. I'll show you. I'll pull them out. I forgot to get them. Oh well, it's not like we're not going to get together again because I'm going to keep doing this. I'm loving this. This is so much fun. And I think the black and white with the orcas and the whole aspect of it, their shapes, they of themselves, look at the shapes on that. Every orca has a fingerprint, a shape. Their fins, their dorsal fin, where it lays over, whether it stands up, their markings on their sides and on their back are all the ways that they are identified. as much as our own fingerprints are and the way we look and whatnot. Orcas have that same physical appearance. The other thing that they have that is so amazing is their voice. They each have a distinct sound, and their song, that is the most amazing thing. They can tell from miles away which one of their pod is where, who. If it's somebody from their pod, they know, oh my gosh. So something to really be amazed at. So you guys, I am going to release you from this storytelling realm and the land of the orcas. I'm going to put a pretty quiet outro sound. I think it's basically the same song is going on in the back of this because I'm pretty relaxed. I hope you are too. Deirdre said she was relaxed. And Nathan's been enjoying this. Love being here today. Thank you. I'm glad. I am really glad you guys are here and have enjoyed this. So until the next story time, keep looking for the beauty in plain sight. Thank you all for coming into the story hour into time and for letting me try out this art form and share it with you. And thank you, Mona, and everybody else who mentioned that they knew about it, and Helen, I think, had read about it too. And so Glenda's sliding off the couch. So before she ends up as a puddle on the ground, I'm going to sign off. And you guys, as I said, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. And every one of you, go look in the mirror first, because that's where you're going to see it, looking right back at you. Until next time, love you all.